Hey there, servants. This is Bill and Sonja, and welcome to our review of Season 2, Episode 3, Pizza. The whole premise of the episode is that the Turners open up a family business as a front for a more important mission. What did you think of the episode?
I thought the episode had a lot of flashbacks that were a little bit confusing, but from when Dorothy was pregnant with Jericho to present day. Mm-hmm. So you kind of had to, keep up. Right. But it had me laughing. I was cracking up the entire show, and it also had me at the edge of my seat. That show, it's got really dark humor that is shouldn't be funny, but it really is.
Right.
And even
you
as much as
bad for laughing, right?
Yeah, even as much as I hate Dorothy, she even made me laugh this episode.
She was funny. Well, what had you on the edge of your seat?
Just the anticipation of what is going to happen. The stakeout, who's in the house, or are they going to see Leanne, or is the cult going to be in there? Yeah. So. What did you think?
Well, first of all, they're throwing Toby to the wolves. This poor guy, he doesn't know anything about it. But, they're ruthless because as far as they know, the cult could be in that house. He even mentioned his employee rights, and they were just like, whatever.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
But it's suspenseful. The whole episode is so suspenseful. I think they're throwing a lot of red herrings at us. Who are these kids? We think it's going to be a bunch of cult members, and it ends up a bunch of 8-year-old soccer players, with an old couple. Who are they?
Yeah, so you're right. So maybe we'll find out later. The episode begins with a flashback of a pregnant Dorothy in distress, on her hands and knees, crawling into the house. She got put on bed rest for a month, and Dorothy says, a month in bed rest? Easy peasy.
Yeah, don't believe her for a second.
Right. Bill, you had noticed that she had blood on her hands.
Yeah.
When she was
crawling in that first flashback scene, her hands are bloody, but she's not leaving a trail of blood on the ground. So it's does that mean something? Is that just a continuity error on the producer's part?
I hadn't noticed it till you mentioned it.
Yeah, it's very weird.
But I did feel for Dorothy. I would have been terrified if that would happen to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Transitions back to present day. Mm-hmm. Sean tells Dorothy they've had a few sightings of Leanne, but none of them were actually Leanne.
Right, all false reports. Yeah.
Dorothy has her Kill Bill list out, as I'd like to call it. She's crossing out the names.
Addresses.
Yeah, the addresses, and she's positive that Leanne is on the list.
Yeah. Well, where did she get all the addresses, though?
I think Sean says she got them from people, the public, that were calling in, giving them leads.
Also on the hotline. The same thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So you see Julian calls and says, no one's home. So Dorothy looks to see who the owners are of that house.
He was Jollian in this episode. He was hilarious.
He was. Oh, this is probably the first part I laughed at. Was a moped drives up and Julian gets out. He's all pissed off because he sees that it's just a Chinese menu. And he tells them he expects breakfast with real bacon, not that low sodium BS.
That was funny.
Yeah,
well, and then Dorothy, as usual, yelling at Sean. He's making hummus, and she's being she's complaining that he's being pessimistic, and while they're continuing to look for their baby, he's making hummus,
Right, yeah, she kind of throws
which
her.
was funny, so I give her a pass.
It was.
I
was watching some behind the scenes interviews with M. Night Shyamalan. He mentioned about how they intentionally have dressed Dorothy in prints, large prints, to indicate or show that she's not a calm, relaxed person. So here she's
That's
wearing...
what that means? I would never pick that up without, you watching that.
Yeah, so she's wearing PJs here that have some large prints. And in previous episodes, she's had dresses that have big, large floral prints. And later on in the episode, she's wearing an apron that has large prints on it too. So Sean is staking out the house.
Right.
And
the estate.
This,
right?
yeah, and Dorothy says that she thinks it's a barrack, and there's a they're training an army. They could be training an army in there.
Yeah. Well, a lot of cults were famous for that. I know Heaven's Gate, that cult, they had a big compound, big expensive gated compound too. So, typical.
Could be. They don't mind throwing Toby in there though.
They don't. Okay.
So Dorothy made me laugh when she tells Sean that Sean tells Dorothy the neighbors think they're out of town. And Dorothy says, neighbors? You never trust the neighbor because every time they find a basement full of bodies, it's always the neighbor suspected nothing.
That was hilarious. Yeah, for sure.
So funny. There's a grocery delivery at that house, which so now Dorothy thinks, yeah, they're home. They're home and they've got hungry mouths to feed. So they come up with this really kind of a brilliant idea of a pizza delivery business.
Yeah. Julian called it a carb delivery business. Because I think at first he thought burgers. But then like Sean shot that down, right?
Yeah, he said that doesn't travel well. What about sushi?
Right.
And I'm thinking sushi doesn't travel well, but you said no, it travels well.
Yeah, as long as it's sashimi, I guess it could be, But it was funny. Like what got me, my favorite part of it was Julian like making inappropriate jokes. Like, of course it's a religious group, so they're trying to target them. And he's throwing out names like Jesus Crust. And it seems like he's joking, throwing out their motto, from God's lip to yours, or from God's oven to your lips. And you're just like, what? Like, who would say that? And that's what they went with. I can't believe they chose that name. Yeah, I think religious people would find that offensive, But the margarita pizza looked amazing.
It did look amazing. Yeah, and I definitely think that they would need to have a good sense of humor, or they would find that distasteful.
Yeah, right. I wonder what like religious fans of the show, if there are, and thought about that.
It was clever though. Pretty clever.
That's for sure.
So they dropped off the menus at the neighbor's house and at that house.
Right.
And then there's a flashback from the past of a TV broadcast with Walter. And he's talking. Walter. Walter's so funny. You go back and watch the other episode with his face. He's talking to Dorothy about her being on bed rest.
And to me, this like just shows how fake Dorothy is. She came across so just artificial and fake. So anyway,
you definitely see how demanding she is of Sean. Sean's waiting on her hand and foot. He's wiping her butt.
Literally,
she's ringing a bell.
Literally wiping her butt. She's not 600-pound life, right?
Exactly.
She doesn't need somebody to what she could reach.
She can't get up, but she's not supposed to get up.
Yeah, I could see him disposing of everything, but why is he wiping? Come on, Dorothy.
So back to present day, Dorothy's wearing a large printed apron in the wine cellar. And have you noticed this season they're showing more parts of the house? Yeah. So they're showing the basement.
I think you just noticed that because you want to live there.
That house is nice. And the backyard, they're showing different parts of the backyard. Yeah. So
cool place.
Now
your own pizza oven in the back.
Oh, that was awesome. Yeah. Jesus Crust is getting orders.
They're getting orders. And one thing I noticed is when they printed out the pamphlet, the advertisement for Jesus Crust, there was a pamphlet next to it with Mae Markham's name on it, like a little book or something that she wrote. And it has like praying hands that are on fire near the table. And it says on it, like the title of it is, My God Created Suffering. So it's like they're a suffrage cult.
Didn't you say there was a cult like that?
There was a cult like that. I don't remember their names right now, but you could look it up. But they were all about suffering, and this one obviously is because they're beating on themselves and
Oh, maybe they'll show that later. And I'm wondering
weird stuff to Sean,
Yeah. And I wonder with that menu, if they'll show what their mission statement is. I tried to zoom in, but it was blurry.
Yeah, it was blurry. I couldn't say. Some of you guys out there, I know somebody enhanced it. Please, say something in the comments. Let us know what they said.
Yeah, it's got to be. It has to be witty, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So Toby's back. So he asked Sean, "Why are we getting into the takeaway game?" So Toby he just has no idea what is going on. He has no idea about their plan. I don't even think he knows that Jericho's missing.
I don't think he is either.
So,
but they're definitely throwing him right under the bus, like a lamb to the slaughter. It just goes to show the lengths they're willing to go through, or to accomplish their mission. They're sacrificing a loyal employee, a servant. Necessarily. So I feel bad for him.
I do. It's not cool. Even earlier, Dorothy says, "Who knows what May Markham is doing to them?" So they're totally willing to put Toby in a dangerous situation.
Yeah.
So while making the pizza, Sean is speaking to Toby about sharing pizza with dates and breaking bread. Wonder if that's another Bible reference.
It might be. It seems like he's justifying this whole thing to Toby, because Toby has kind of almost a disgusted kind of ugh, why are we doing this?
We're above this.
Yeah, we're a high end outfit. Sean's a famous chef and he's a sous chef, and they're not a pizza joint or whatever. But then Sean kind of goes, I love the way Sean describes food. He obviously, has a passion for it, So he really just breaks down everything in a great way, and you could see that over the, evolution of his character. But, he's talking about breaking bread, and he mentions the pack feeds together. So immediately when I heard that, I thought the lions in that mural and the cult. But then again, a group of lions isn't called a pack; it's called a pride. But what is called a pack? Wolves. And what are wolves? Are predators. So, we were thinking that the Church of Lesser Saints are a bunch of predators.
I'm starting to think that the Turners are a bunch of predators.
They're acting like predators in this, that's for sure.
Yeah.
They're acting like villains.
Dorothy gets a call. She answers the phone. Jesus Christ.
Yes.
And then she quickly, corrects herself. Yeah. This is a call she's been waiting for, though. It's for 20 cheese pizzas.
At the compound.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they show Julian coming over in his tuxedo.
She called him to come deliver the pizza, right?
Yeah, come deliver the pizza. And it appears he was at the opera.
He's in a tuxedo. He looks ridiculous.
But I don't think Natalie was with him, because Dorothy says Natalie hates the opera, and Julian says good for her. They don't want him to deliver the pizza dressed like that, so they come up with the idea to have Toby deliver it,
right?
Sending him into that lion's den.
And Julian does not look good.
It's all baggy.
In that tuxedo, it reminded me of Harry Potter and him in his dress robes. He just looked bad. So what they do, they threw poor Toby into the mix.
Yeah. Did you catch when Julian called Toby gimpy when Sean and Dorothy suggested he deliver?
I didn't the first time, but
food.
The second time, yeah. But when they mention it, he calls him gimpy. Why is he so mean to him?
What's he got against him?
He's been mean to him the whole show.
He has. There is a flashback of Dorothy yelling for Sean because the alarm is going off. And then it hops back to the present of Toby pulling up to the home for the pizza delivery. So I was wondering, what is that mud though in the cellar?
In the hole?
And then there's a hose on the ground too.
Yeah. Well, remember they had the foundation leak. When Dorothy's taking a shower, and we thought maybe Leanne, because she was on the phone when the leak happened, and the water bubbled up through, maybe she did it supernaturally or whatever. Well, obviously they were fixing that foundation leak. Because it even shows it at one point. Dorothy's looking down at the pipe that was busted. They've broken the foundation concrete out, and they got those construction panels over them so you can walk.
I just wonder if there's some type of symbolism.
Yeah, with the hoses, when you do foundation leaks, when you're fixing them, they bypass the line, so you can actually still use your.
Oh, okay.
Your stuff.
So the hose is okay.
Yeah, it's just water to get to
with
the other
that.
thing. But symbolism, yeah. At one point, Julian trips in there, and he almost falls into the pit. And I'm like, is this the pit of despair? Is this the? Are they on the precipice of something horrible?
Yeah, they're deep doo-doo.
Deep doo-doo. They're about to go deep like doo-doo. Yeah, it does. And another thing, like, what does the wine symbolize? We talked about it a couple of times. Like, is it symbolic of them or their morality, maybe? Because he drops the wine into the mud.
Mm-hmm. Now they're dirty.
It's filthy, right? Mm-hmm. He picks it up and wipes it off, and they have it anyway.
Right. How far were they? Yeah. How far are they willing to go?
Yeah, I think
because they're going to all sorts of lengths to hide the truth, but not really talk about what happened.
Right.
Toby rings the doorbell. A kid answers the door. A bunch of kids run towards the door.
Right.
And grab the pizza. And Toby says that he needs to get paid.
It's weird. The pizza guy coming in the house, and then they're like, oh, they're upstairs, and then he just goes upstairs. Like, who does that? Who are these kids, and who answers the door that way? Like, what is going on now?
Right. So that scene reminds me of the scene from Home Alone, the very first one. So Toby goes upstairs. He runs into Leanne.
In the hallway, yep.
He's surprised. He says, Leanne? Leanne asks, why are you here? Dorothy says, I found you, and wants Toby to follow her. Mm-hmm. But he doesn't.
No. He doesn't know why he's there. If he did, he probably would have. But, that lady who lives there, the lady with cancer, distracts him. Hey, I'm in here. And
she seemed really nice.
Poor lady.
Yeah.
Some very creepy vibe, though, that whole thing. Mm-hmm. So who knows what that is.
Toby realizes, though, that he was sent there to spy. And Julian says, mission accomplished. Welcome to the CIFA.
And then he just hangs up on him like, whatever.
Right.
We don't care if you're upset.
They show them getting another alert for a pizza order. And Julian says, they just ordered another pie. Dorothy says, one margarita, and knows immediately that it's Leanne who ordered it, because Leanne has a history of loving tomatoes.
Yeah. Tomato soup and all that. Yeah, for sure.
Are Natalie and Julian fighting, or did they break up? Because
kind of seems like it.
It seems like it, right? He's agitated when Sean asked about Natalie, and earlier it appeared he wasn't at the opera with her.
Right.
So, and he says he has no idea how she is.
And the way he said it too, I have no idea.
Yeah, and he was mad. He seemed really irritated.
He did.
Julian said, I literally haven't asked you about Natalie.
Right.
It goes to a scene where Dorothy is making the pizza. Sean says she wants to be involved and feels like she feels like she's doing something.
They really made a big deal about her doing that pizza. So, something had to be up. Right.
You see everyone is watching Toby delivering the pizza that Dorothy made.
Yeah, and is he wearing a GoPro? Like, did they put a camera on him? Is he FaceTiming? Does he have his phone like in his pocket? Because it looks like it's either right here or right up here. And why is he recording? Maybe they told him they just want to record the things. The deliveries. I don't know. Yeah, I just don't understand why.
Yeah, I don't understand why. Like it. Maybe what they said to him, why he's recording it.
Yeah, I don't know. That wasn't part of.
He's wondering, or they just said, "Oh, just keep your phone on."
Yes.
But when Toby's in the house, he literally throws the pizza box at Leanne, like he's angry at her. Yeah. And he says, "What are you doing here, Leanne?"
Well, she had asked him to join her, right, with the pizza. Will you join me? Mm-hmm. And he just walked up and threw it at her. That really surprised me.
Right.
He's still angry from.
Yeah, she said she wanted to say bye, at their last meeting, but she thought he was going to talk her out of leaving.
That was interesting. He was like, "Would it have mattered what I said? Would you have listened?" And she was like, "Maybe."
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
He asked, "Did something happen with the Turners?" And I'm going to play a clip of what Leanne said.
Something happened? With the Turners?
It was Dorothy. I couldn't live with her for another day.
Oh, I've heard enough of this.
Leave it. She's not like she is on the television. She's selfish. And she's cruel. She's mean.
So Dorothy heard that. She walks away and says, call me if anything happens.
Delusional. Like she didn't acknowledge it. Like, come on, she's got to understand that people think this way of her. And she just acted like, nope.
And she did exactly, well, we'll find out she did exactly what Leanne said she was.
Right.
There is a scene flashback to a very pregnant, not so bedridden Dorothy. She has gotten out of bed to check an alarm that's going off because of some smoke.
Right. The alarm company calls and she tells them she can't get out of bed, but Sean's not there. So she's, she makes the decision to get up. Can't really blame her too much for that.
But I do think they're showing all these flashbacks of her being pregnant and her putting the baby in harm to show that it was inevitable that she was going to hurt Jericho.
Like it was her destiny for it to happen.
Because even in last season, the very last episode, Aunt May's talking to Leanne and tells Leanne she's going to hurt you. She's going to hurt him again. So Dorothy slips and falls.
Oh my gosh. I was like
down a few steps and holds her stomach. You were having some sympathy pains for her.
Even though I can't stand Dorothy either. It was hard to watch her slip when she's pregnant. That's that was rough.
Yeah.
Again, what did she do that on purpose? Was she being reckless? I don't know. Yeah. So
we're back to present day. Did you notice how Dorothy jerks that pizza peel or whatever it's called away from Sean when he tried to help her?
Yeah. He put his hands around her lovingly, and she jerked away, and then she stands in this like almost warrior pose with this the pizza peel thing, the thing you turn the pizza around, almost like a weapon.
Yeah, like a combat position.
Like a spear or something. Makes you wonder the symbolism behind that.
I wonder if maybe later on we're going to see Dorothy maybe in that same position, threatening someone or trying to hurt someone, or maybe even, Leanne, or I just have a
Aunt
feeling.
May, maybe. Who knows?
Aunt May, yes, someone. Yeah. Leanne asked Toby not to tell them that she's there, and then she collapsed.
Leanne collapsed.
Leanne collapsed. Yeah. And it's because Dorothy, when she was making the pizza, she drugged the pizza. I was shocked. I was so shocked.
What kind of drug did she use? How much did she put in it? Like, what if she kills her? She seemed very flippant about it, too. Like, she's not an anesthesiologist. Like, she doesn't know how much to put in. Like, she could have easily killed her, and she didn't seem to care one bit.
I was looking on the table to see if there's any
clues,
prescription pills, but there was a pestle and mortar on the table.
Right.
Maybe she crushed up some sleeping pills and put it in the dough.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. Dorothy says, "Take me off mute." Toby wants to call 911 because she collapsed.
Right.
Dorothy says, "I wouldn't recommend that." She says, "You entered a private residence and drugged a young woman with pizza." Toby is stunned. Like, what in the heck? Dorothy tells Toby to pick her up off the floor, put her in the back seat of the car, and drive her here.
She was cold, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. She was a villain at this moment. Very much in control. It was shocked.
Yeah. And then threatens him that if he doesn't do that, she's going to call 911 herself, and then hangs up the phone. Oh, sucky now. Dorothy is a straight up gangster.
She's cold hearted. Yep.
Oh my gosh. And then she says, "Don't worry, I handled it." And she said that twice in this episode. I've noticed in this episode a couple of other words in this episode and sentences that are reminiscences of phrases in season 1. Leanne says to Toby, will you join me? It reminded me in episode 3 of Eel when Leanne asked Toby, will you have a drink with me?
Ah.
And when Dorothy says to the TV, I found you, made me think of episode 6, Bear, when
Uncle
Leanne
George.
gets the note from Uncle George that says, I found you.
Oh, okay.
And then the last one, he says, come home in this episode. And she said, come home, just like that in episode 9 of Jericho, when she's telling Sean when he's doing that Chopped episode to come home.
Yeah.
So, and then she just nonchalantly takes that bite of pizza. Overall, I thought the episode was really entertaining. I love Dorothy being cray-cray. This show just keeps getting darker and darker.
A
and
different
I can't.
type of cray-cray, though, right? She was in
Yeah.
control. She's usually totally out of control. This time she was ruthless. She was Dr. Evil, you know? She was completely in control.
Yeah, I can't wait to see Leanne's reaction when she wakes up in the Turner house next week.
Yeah, she's going to be upset.
Yeah. Next week's, what were we going to say?
Oh, I was just saying, the show showing how ruthless Dorothy actually is. You know, I was talking earlier about it being fake, you know, and when she's putting on her like, oh, I'm so sweet, and blah, blah, blah. That's fake Dorothy. We saw real Dorothy in this episode. She is selfish, cold-hearted, calculating. She's mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like Leanne says, she's mean.
Yeah, she is mean. She's mean. She's wicked.
She is taking control. And you could look at it like, hey, she's trying to bring her baby back, you know, which, come on. But
Well,
anyway.
we'll see the next episode. It's called 2 o'clock. So something must happen at 2
Maybe that's when Leanne wakes up.
2 a.m. or 2 p.m. We'll see. So, but thanks for watching.
Yeah.
Leave some comments if you.
Oh, please. Yeah. Even if you think you were wrong, like, you know, completely off base, like, let us know why and then what you think. Because maybe you're right. Maybe we're wrong. You know, that's the beauty of this whole thing and us as a community getting together and talking about it. So if you like it, subscribe and hit the like button and please leave us some comments. We love reading them and talking about them.
Yeah, I always read everybody else's comments.
Yeah.
So, thanks. Bye.
Bye.